All right. Thank you so much for being with us, everybody. Appreciate you taking time again to listen to this podcast. Or if you're on YouTube, you can probably see the audio here. But I am excited for the special guest that we have today. I have a chance to talk with John fairly frequently, and it's a pleasure every time we get a chance to talk because we're able to talk about the business, we're able to talk about directions, what we see is going on, but usually we don't have this type of a conversation. And so I'm excited to kind of find out a little bit more about him and get some other questions that we maybe normally don't talk about. But John, I appreciate you being with us today.
Hi, Nathan. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So I know you've been in the business for quite a while, and one way that I know you found to work for you and something that has been the way that you've found growth has been through growing online. So I'm just curious if I know a lot of people right now, especially, are kind of looking to start growing online. So maybe what are some things that you can share? Maybe a few key tips or something that people would need to know to get started out in this online business.
Sure. Yeah, I would absolutely recommend social media to start because it's free. And, if I remember back when I started in 2004, I didn't have a lot of money. And I remember at the time I got the starting pack, it was over $800. And then the auto order was a couple $100. So I lived in New York City at the time. I had a school loan at the time, credit card loans. So that's why we choose a business like this. It's inexpensive, but at the same time, you don't want to spend tons and tons of money. So back then I had to do different activities that don't really translate now, but just kind of touching on that for a second. I remember I sold my car. I was in New York City just so I could afford the auto order because I made a decision up front that I was going to treat this like a business, not a hobby. And it was uncomfortable at first, but I used public transportation to get to work and get around. But selling the car really helped me run the business. I went on 200-point auto ship to start. I just wanted to go all in. I've never missed an auto order since then. And I had a little bit of extra money to buy some marketing tools. Back then we did the Health and Freedom newspaper. I handed out flyers, roadside signs. I didn't do a whole lot on the internet. I wish we had social media back then, but we just didn't, right? So the only thing I really did on the internet back then was Craigslist. And I posted all kinds of kind of like job opportunities with USANA. All right. And so between that and my referrals and my warm market, that's how I got started. But today it's just so much better. It's, my goodness, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you can go into your settings and just open it up to the world. So there's really no excuse anymore to say, I don't know anybody, because through social media, you set up an account and the reach is huge, different countries all throughout the United States. So I would say start there because it doesn't cost anything. It's a great resource to meet people. And we have excellent training on the USANA Associate Community page to kind of go through the archives, and it will teach you what's the best way to set up an account. What should you post? Like I like to post lifestyle things. That's my thing. I'm an activities guy. So I'm constantly posting lifestyle if there's me or my family, and it gets a lot of conversation going. And it's interesting. Like years ago, we used the phone only. Now I'm using like Facebook Messenger, Instagram direct message. And it's amazing how many people want to communicate that way or text, not just on the phone. So, these training calls will teach you, what do you say to someone who instant messages you and they're interested in a product or your opportunity, and you can go through all this and listen in your commutes. That's what I used to do when I was on the subway. Instead of reading the sports page, I was always downloading training and trying to learn how to grow this business. So I would totally start there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So yeah, social media, like you said, it's free. Maybe takes a little bit of discipline. I'm the type of person that I'll go onto Instagram and then I'll go on there with a purpose. And next thing I know, I'm watching these cat videos or something not necessarily supposed to be doing. And so it does take some discipline, I think, as you're doing that. But I think that you're right. That is a good place to start. And
But it's fun. It could be fun though. Like you could, like post things that are fun for you. So that's why I chose lifestyle. And they have all these tools now, especially on TikTok. You can make the video so much fun by creating this fun video with like different music and emojis and just different things you can insert in there. So have a good time with it. That will help you become more consistent, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Do you post like, hey, there's this product, buy it? Do you ever use that on your social media, or is it you focus just on lifestyle and then you kind of have conversations after somebody reaches out and connects with you over the lifestyle post?
I used to do that, but since I've been in USANA so long, it's a little different situation for me. And so many people know I do USANA. So like, I will post certain things like, I'm going on a, incentive trip with USANA to San Francisco and, Sonoma Valley, and I'll post that and you'll see it's a USANA event. I know there's other leaders that, do it differently, but I think everyone they have to market to their strengths and what they want to do. This is something that works for me, these lifestyle things. But I'm trying to remember back when I first started. And so when I first started, I didn't let people know about USANA, not because I didn't think it was good. It was awesome. It's just that I didn't want people to make their own judgment, and I needed time to show them some presentation, talk to them first, have them talk to my upline. So that's how I started. I think a lot of people start that way, but I've been in the business almost 20 years. So, I mean, pretty much most people know that I'm in this company, and in their mind, they're like, well, if he's been in it that long, it's pretty legit. I don't need to make a judgment on it. Let me just see what John has to offer.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. And so, like you said, you've been in the business for almost 20 years, and throughout your time, as you've kind of started using social media and more traditional ways of growing, you've gotten a lot of customers. I know you're kind of the customer king. I think year after year, you're the top customer enroller. And so you've been able to impact a lot of lives. Like, how do you, once you get those customers in, like, what do you do to kind of keep the customers happy? Like, what do you do for customer service wise, I guess is what it would be.
Right. So I'll do three things that I can share. I have a good local customer presence, and I deliver all the products to my customers most of the time. And I have people that will say to me, well, if it's free shipping, why don't you just ship it to their doorstep? And I said, well, there's a simple reason for that. It's because I can't build a relationship that way. I put on my USANA polo. So I'm in the Los Angeles area, a lot of traffic, but I'll do it anyway. I'll go to the person, meet them in a cafe, even their house, whatever, because I want to get to know their needs and wants. I want a person that likes you, likes to do business with you. So, especially new customer, every time I'm going, they see my face. We can build a rapport. And here's what I found. After a while, people want other people they know to use the products too. So I'll use this customer, Susan, as an example. She's been my customer for years, but she's a good example because after a while of getting to know her, there's one time that, I would talk to her and she goes, I really want to recommend this product to my sister. Can I get an extra set so I can have my sister try? She's recommended her husband. She's recommended her daughter. And I'm finding that a lot of customers are doing that because I have this special relationship with them. There was another time, just going back to Susan, she mentioned in our conversation, because I said, how was the weekend? How was your holiday? How have things been? She said, unfortunately, my husband has some heart problems. So what I decided to do, and you don't have to do it this exact way because I know it could be expensive, but I gave her a coconut note because she spent hundreds and hundreds of, maybe probably thousands of dollars with me over the years. And you always have the intention to help someone else. I mean, I didn't think of it as like, oh, she's just going to buy it. I just want to do something nice for her. And I'll get into that second sampling in a second. But she took it. And then next time I saw her, she's like, I love it. Can I add that to my order? It was great. I didn't expect that at all. I was just wanting to do something nice for her because she was such a cool person. So definitely consider meeting up with all your customers, delivering it to them so you can talk to them, build that relationship. It's a little harder out of state. I'll do some first class mail with some samples. That's my second thing, samples. I like to give people samples to reward them. Everyone wants a gift. Your customer in the back of the mind, they know, hey man, I've been ordering from USANA for a while. Like, I want to be treated good. Like, I wonder if there's any perks. Like, so I want to give them perks. And so to my customers, whether they're local or away, if I feel like I want to gift them something, I'll use the Nutrimail pouches. I'll use all the stick packs. We have like Booster C, Rev 3, probiotics, Detox Tea, Electrolyte. And I say, which one do you want to try? I'll give them like a week. And I'll tell them, I go, thank you for being a great customer. I wanted to do this for you. And I'm not expecting them to buy it or anything. It's just, I want them to be happy. And when you make people happy, things happen after. Okay. So that's the second piece of advice. Just, reward your customers. Like, I've even given blender bottles, USANA blender bottles, and they're taking that to work, and we have our branding right there. So that's a popular thing I do. At conventions, sometimes I'll buy shirts, and to my best customers, I'll just hand them a shirt. Here, I was at a convention over the weekend, thought of you, and here's a shirt for you. So what that does is every customer goes through a hard time. We're in a recession. They might lose their job, and they're considering, what do I drop? What subscriptions? What things do I drop? And it's going to be a lot harder for them to drop USANA products because of the service I provided. So that's something to think about. And then the third thing is, I'm very flexible with them. There's no pressure. Like, of course, I would love all my customers to be an auto order. Auto order is a lot easier now. I mean, you can cancel the back of your account. You can pause it. You can go on 4 or 8 week. But, and I describe it to my customers, but some just want to be in control. They don't want to go on auto order, and I don't pressure them. I don't force the issue. I just tell them, well, what's going to work for you? Well, I'll contact you. And if they don't contact me, I follow up. But there's sometimes I have customers who order 3 times in a month, and I don't hear from them for 4 months. But that's the way they want to do it. So if I pressure them and they avoid me, that's bad, right? So just be flexible with your customers and make sure you're helping them in the way that they want to be helped.
I like that too. And what you were saying, kind of, there's an overall theme that I've heard is, there's so many people, especially nowadays, like, things just come at people. You're not even looking for information. You're not even looking for it, but it's just there because we're so connected to everything through social media that in order for you to be able to stand out, you got to do something different. Like you said, what you do for the local people, hand delivering versus just sending them. It's probably easier just to send it right to their house. But like you said, then you get that personal touch. Not only do you get a chance to get to know them a little bit more, but then that stands out because you had delivered versus just then getting a box. So I like those 3 tips that you just shared. Outside of just promoting on social media, like, what else can you do to add value to those customers so that they think of you and that they stay loyal?
Exactly. Well, one thing I forgot, USANA's so good with the promotions now. It gives you reason to reach out to your customers, and they appreciate when you're telling them, like, hey, Nutrimeal is on sale right now. We had that in the beginning of January. Just the recent heart health pack that was a discount. Sometimes there's packages with like free products, a BioOmega, digestive enzyme, a probiotic, and it really it's an excuse to reach out, text, call, whatever it is that you like to do, and say, hey, I just want to let you know for the next 4 days, this is on sale. And you can do that not only for your local customers, but your customers in other states, other areas.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Hey, so you got a lot of customers, you've been building online, all these things. So you have a fairly large organization. For those of you who don't know, John is a 3-star diamond director and just hit that last year in 2022. And it's amazing the size of that business and what that does. And I'm sure that takes a lot of time to be able to continue to maintain. And you probably have so many customers to keep them in track. But then you also have, you're a family man too. I know you're a big family man with your wife. You make sure to spend time with her and with your kids as well. How do you balance the time that you have? And I don't know, you don't need to go into as much to deep personal, but I know you have some extra special circumstances that take more of your time too. So how do you balance it all?
Yeah, Nathan, this is a big one for me because time has always been a challenge for me ever since day one of USANA. I'm always feeling like I'm running out of time. Um, you know, so I did USANA part time for 3 years, and I worked in corporate America, and now I'm full time. And some people ask me, "Well, how do you not have time? You're doing USANA full time." But I'm like, my life changed. I have a family. I have 2 kids. I have a son that's about to turn 7, a daughter that will turn 9 this year, and they do tons of activities, a lot, which is great. They're awesome athletes. He does ice hockey, and I'm on the ice rink with him, playing with him. He does baseball. I coach his baseball team. He does taekwondo. And then my daughter, she does softball. I coach that. She does taekwondo and also soccer. And that doesn't even include play dates and birthday parties and homework. My wife and I, we volunteer for the school. We're teacher parents. So we have to do a shift a week. And that's about like 3 hours every time we do a shift during the day. And my daughter, she has type 1 diabetes, so it's 24/7 taking care of her. We do volunteering for an organization called JDRF. We're doing a lot. So the next question is, well, how do you get it all done? And the first thing is you got to set USANA as a priority. If you don't set USANA as a priority, it's always going to be in the backseat. Okay, I know there's other important things, but if you join this business and you want to do well, it has to be one of your top, if not the top priority. Once that's a priority to you, and your family knows that, because spouse support is so important. So after making USANA a priority, you want to create a schedule. And my schedule, like I know my kids go to school at like 8:30, and I have to pick them up for their activities at 3. So I have that time to work, but that time gets used up very quickly because sometimes we have to like teacher parent. Sometimes we have to do errands for the house. Like the storm just came through California, ripped apart my fences all around my yard. So I need time to go and fix that situation. When I meet with customers or prospects, traffic here, something that should only take 20 minutes to go and visit takes 45 minutes, an hour. So I run out of time. So with that said, I move over to what I learned from part-time USANA work, which is do the business in the nooks and crannies of your day. So from 3 to 9, it's all kid stuff. And so, for example, they might be in taekwondo. So instead of like sitting there just chatting with random people, just watching them, I'm in my car. I have my backpack with my computer. It's I call it my $1 million bag. I've had it for years and years and years. I put all my stuff in there that I need. I've got my iPhone. I just got I got Pro Max. I want the big screen so I can do Zoom calls, and I can read stuff easily on the phone. And I'm in there working, and that's how I can close out the day. And if I need even more time when I get home, my wife, she understands that I may have things to do, so she does the homework for the kids. And while they're focusing on their homework, I can wrap up the day. And that goes back to my part-time days. Well, I worked for the National Basketball Association for 7 years. I worked 55 to 60 hours a week, and I commuted from Hoboken, New Jersey on the path to Manhattan. So when I first started the business, I did not know how to incorporate building USANA in my day. It was difficult. I would come home, eat dinner real quick at 9 o'clock, start everything. And I realized, man, that's kind of late to be calling people. It gets late real fast. And energy management, I was just so exhausted. I didn't feel like doing anything. So I didn't really have much going on in my business in the beginning because I could never get it started. I'd had inactivity for weeks. But it wasn't until I went on a USANA training call and I learned a leader talk about doing the business in nooks and crannies of your day. And it seems like common sense, but a lot of us don't do it. I mean, I don't know if I just didn't think of it, but I had to redo my whole schedule. Like I had to look at all the different points in the day where I take breaks, lunches. And so I built a plan around that. So I lived 17 blocks from the PATH train. That's a 20-minute walk. PATH train was about 20 minutes, another 5-minute walk to my job. So we're talking like 45 minutes one way, 45 minutes back. And I started to use those times to prospect, call my upline, call my team, where before I was just walking, listening to music. That alone right there, hour and a half a day, just that, just made me feel so much better. I was getting things done. I didn't have to wait till I got home at night. And then I identified times during the day. So we would have breaks, and some people would go for coffee. Some people would do a smoke break. I didn't do any of those things. I used that break and called a prospect. I would have a lead list in my back pocket with a pen, and I'd go somewhere, and it's hard in Manhattan. It's very loud. So I had to try to find the most quiet place, and I'd be in a business or a park or something like that, and I'd make my contacts, and on my sheet, I'd write out like notes or check marks if I got a hold of them, or voicemail message that I left, and then I go back to work. And then that lunch, which was an hour, that was big because I started incorporating small meetings. So instead of going up to the NBA cafeteria watching NBA basketball, I no longer did that. I was working on my business every day. And if I had no one to meet and do a table presentation, I was prospecting. So I would meet someone at like a cafe. I'd watch the clock because I made sure that I was doing my regular job in an optimal way and still building my USANA business. So I just had to do it more creatively. And before I knew it, I was like, wow, I had someone join, I had someone buy the products, like things were moving, all because I treated it as a priority. I made a schedule and I was consistent with it. And it just kind of changed my life. Like I said, this is my new normal now. I build USANA, I go to work. And I did that for 3 years consistently before I finally was able to transition to full-time USANA associate.
Great. Now, when you started to make that transition, was it just you made the decision and it started right then, you were consistent, or did it take some time before you started making it a consistent thing to do?
Well, this happened right away because I wasn't consistent for like the first 6 months of the business. I was frustrated. I was like, man, I can never get anything done. I just don't have any time. So I had to shift the way I thought. And the only way your thought process can be shifted is by learning from other leaders, listening to calls like these great podcasts, the great trainings on the Facebook group that we have to give you ideas. And that was an awesome day that I remember that day that the leader was talking about, hey, you work a lot, you work, all those hours, you got to do it within the nooks and crannies of your day. Always remember that, nooks and crannies. And it's true. Even if it's only 5 minutes here, an hour there, it all adds up at the end of the day. So when I got home, I felt real good about myself. I was like, wow, I've already put in a couple hours. And yeah, it's 9 o'clock. I don't have a whole lot of energy, but I'm so excited. I'm going to push myself a little bit more, close out this day, and then do it all over again tomorrow. And then action started to happen.
That's great. Yeah. And there's a different mentality there too. Instead of, oh man, it's 9 o'clock. Now I have to do this. Now you're excited about it because you've already done so much. You're like, oh, this is feeling really good. I'm going to do a little bit more. So it's a whole shift in your mindset. I like that.
Yeah. When it's your new normal, it was like every day I'm like, okay, pull out my phone. I'm walking and talking, I could take a break from work, go across the street. There was one time, so I worked in New Jersey and Manhattan, and New Jersey, across the street from our offices was a convention center. And my upline visited me one day, and I showed them where I prospect. It was funny. I had to go across the street. I had to walk around the convention center. There was these set of stairs, and I go up, and there was an awning over me, so you couldn't really see I was in there. And he took a picture of me just sitting there prospecting with my piece of paper, trying to get a hold of people. And look at the clock. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, it's time to get back to work. But, my goal was to at least reach one person. I might make 10 phone calls and only reach one. But that was success. And I got really psyched, really excited. Go back, do my job. Next break, do the same thing. And when you treat USANA like a business and a priority and something fun that you really want to do and excited to be building your life and your business, you start to do it every day because you start to understand, okay, this is how you do. This is how I can fit in the day. Because I know I'm not the only person. There's tons of people that just don't know how to incorporate something in their day. And that's why I want to tell people, even with kids and all the stuff I got going on. And when I worked in corporate America, worked all those hours, you could still be done. Just remember, be consistent have a routine, have a schedule, stick with it.
Awesome. I think that's great. I think even if things are going well, that's always a good reminder because you could be doing good, but maybe you could find a way to do a little bit better and put yourself in even a better situation too. So I like that too. So John, I know we've taken up a lot of your time already. I appreciate you being generous with this. I know you're busy. You have all these roles and responsibilities, and I appreciate your time. And these words of advice too. It's been great. Before we go though, do you have any last words of advice or words of wisdom that you want to impart on us?
Be consistent. Okay. So if you're treating this business like a business and not a hobby, you're working on it every day. Okay. So if you have no one to talk to, you're working on reaching out and making connections. If you have connections, you're working on invites. If you're working on invites, you're working on them watching material, going through videos, information, and you're working on closing sales, and you're doing it every day. And depending on how bad you want it, you're doing it on the weekend. You know, your Friday night, we used to call it Friday Night Madness. And that's closing down your business before USANA closes for the night, which out here in California, it's 11 o'clock at night. That's it. That's the cutoff. So you're trying to make the biggest check. You're putting last minute orders in. You're trying to get a bonus or whatever it is that you're going for, some kind of incentive. But the only way to do that is to be consistent, work on the business every day. You don't work on it one day, or I had a great day today, and then all of a sudden you don't do anything for 3 days. That's more hobby stuff. So yeah, be consistent. The more you're consistent, the more activity you'll have going on in your business.
I love that. Okay, awesome, John. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your words of wisdom that you shared with us. That was a lot of great content. So thank you so much. We'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll do a part 2 later on and continue on this conversation. I love it.
You got it. Thanks, Nathan. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too. We'll see ya.
Bye.